everybody. Thanks for joining in. We are going to talk about making Coro face definitions. We're also going to talk about how to utilize the face effect in other ways that you might not think about. But we're going to talk about how to build them and how to utilize them. So welcome to making Coro face definitions. One thing I want to do right off the bat is show you a sequence that was done a little bit back, and let me make sure that I shared a little bit of sound. Share sound, and I am going to try to turn the volume slightly up so it doesn't blow you out. But the one thing that I want to show you here, I want you to pay attention to real quick, is this right here. This is a face definition. These are actually face definitions, and this is a face definition. So pay attention to these. I'll play for about 30 seconds or so, and if it is too loud, Mark, let me know. If it ain't loud enough, let me know and I'll adjust. But I want to play the first section and just kind of watch some of the things that happen.
Undercover on the beach or twerking.
So what I wanted to show you here is that there's a lot of ways to use a face definition, and I actually just used about five different face definitions to do this. I used 4 of them on this clown all at once and stacked them in to be able to utilize those. But a lot of that was buffer, but then there was also some different face definitions going on there as well. So 3 face definitions just on the clown, and then 2 extra faces using buffers to get that effect. With these here, I'm using something called dark face, and it is a little bit different beast. We probably won't have time to get into that, but I will show you a few of that details whenever we get to that. So I'll move this out of the way. So what is a face definition? A face definition is an automation that happens within X-Lights. These face definitions can have blinking eyes, moving mouths, and of course outlines. And there has been some added features to that over the last year or so that we can touch on and get into that really make life a little easier. So let's take a look at this one right here. This is the evil clown. Let's go to the faces. Here it is over in your model's property. Let's click on that, go into the 3 dots, and you'll see that I have a face definition created here. And I want to drop this down, and you'll notice that I have several different face definitions. One thing I want to bring out right off the bat, you can have as many of them as you want. So we'll talk about something there in just a few minutes. But you saw the clown come in. You saw what was just the eyes, right? The reason why I have this one for just eyes is I thought it was a little creepier just to have the eyes sit there and blink. So the eyes are blinking in. And then when he comes in, I actually use the clown here. And I use that with different buffers and allow it to come in sections. And that way it kind of mimicked shadow on him and that sort of thing. So it's a little bit advanced there. But also after that, I use the evil clown with, I use the dark clown. And this is where the dark faces come in. There is very little here except for I'm taking out the face parts or the mouth parts that I don't want to show. So with the AI, I actually show the opposite. That's for later on when we get a little further. So let's talk about how we build a face. Let's do this right here. I'm going to import a bowl, and this will be a really good example of how to create your face definitions and also utilize the different outlines. I probably should have done this earlier, been faster. I think it's going to happen. There we go. So I'm going to close out a few of these and get to EFL designs, and then take a look at. Oh, here we go. Christmas singers and singing bulb. So I bring this in, it comes in, and when it's here, you can come over to the models property. You can play around with the different parts of it. But of course, we're looking at the states, and we're going to take a look at how things are set up here. The first thing you'll notice is that we have a bunch of different face definitions. And remember, you can do as many of them as you want and as many colors as you want. And that's what we're going to get into here. The way you will build it, you will hit add, and you can name this. And I'm just going to name this test bulb because so I can know to delete it later on. And then you'll see you'll have an empty spot here. What we're going to do is we're going to create the faces, and you'll notice that you have a shape over here. There's one thing to consider when you have these shapes. These shapes are not sized. They're only the shapes. The AI is actually supposed to be the largest of all of these faces. And if you were to look at this, it should be bigger than this one, but it's just not according to these little icons. So the way we're going to do this, we'll start out with the face and then we'll go into the outlines. You're going to click into here, and then you can sit here and drag every one of these and drag across them, and pick these. If you accidentally get the wrong one, you can hold shift and drag across them and make them go away. And we can sit here and do this for every shape that you feel like you want to do. And it's subjective. Let's say that you get one of my props and you don't like the shape of the mouth. You want something a little bit different and you want to modify it. Well, you go into that face definition and you would modify it. So we would go through here and we would do this for every single face shape or phoneme shape that we want. And I'm only going to do a few here just for this purpose, and then we'll move into something else. I got this one. I'm going to double click this one to make it go away. So I can shift, drag across it, make it go away, or double click it. So we have two mouth shapes here, AI and E. But what we also want to do is bring in the outline. One thing that you'll notice in some of the older models, they don't have this outline too. They only have one outline. And that's what you'll see. You'll see something along the lines of this. You'll have these in here, and you'll also have that, and that's your outline. And so when you put a color on the outline, it lights up the entire outline here, including the base or something like that. And really, that's not what we want. But what we want to do, I'm going to hold shift again, drag it across and get rid of those. We will actually take that and put it in outline 2. And I'm going to shift and just drag across it. Unlike submodels, the faces do not have directions when it comes to how you pick things. It doesn't care. All right, it's just going to put it in a numerical order. It's just going to light it up. And the automation that happens within a face effect, it happens with the mouth and it happens with the eyes. So we have the outlines here, and we have the mouth once we were to make it all the way through. Well, now we have to define the eyes. So what you have is eyes open 2, eyes open 3, eyes closed 2. And what you'll notice is that eyes open and eyes closed, those two work together. Eyes open 2 and eyes closed 2 work together, and 3 and 3, of course. But what you don't want to do is think that these are going to blink or anything differently because they blink at the same time. So let's say that I wanted to come in and do eyes open, and I want to have the outline of this one. Right, I have the outline of this one. We're going to go ahead and do this here. And I'm just clicking and dragging across. Now that's eyes open and eyes closed. Right here, we're going to get into there, and we're just going to do this. so that it looks like it's blinking his eyes. So this is what it's going to look like when it's closed. Now, with eyes open too, if I really wanted to, I could actually take and put something here so that I could have pupils. Considering that eyes closed uses that same pupil and you wouldn't be able to see it anyway, I'm just going to leave eyes closed blank. Okay, I'm just going to leave it blank. So right now we have a working model. Of course, we don't have all the phonemes done, but that's okay for this experiment. So I'm just going to hit OK, and I'm going to save it. And let's go to the sequencer and take a look. I'm going to have to edit my display and bring that bulb in, and it will land at the bottom. So we've got it there. I'm going to put the face effect on here and show you what that's going to look like. So here we have the different shapes that I've already defined, but let's go to test what we just did. And here we go, we have test. We also have show outline. So let's take a look at this. We have faces, we have the phoneme, and right now it's on AI and we have that defined. But what if I didn't have it defined? It'd be blank. We have the E defined and we have the F, AI. So we know that we have those. So the face definition is test, and then the eyes are auto. What you're going to notice right off the bat with the phoneme here is these are not going to blink. They're just not going to blink right off the bat. So if I go to timing track and then back to phoneme, they will blink. It's like you got to wake it up for some reason. And it blinks every so often. It's not it's a timed thing. So once it blinks, it'll blink. And then there's also certain phonemes that will cause it to blink. I think it's like the L, maybe another one, but those things actually make it blink and try to give an odd timing so that it doesn't happen at the same time all the time. So we're at test. That's the face definition. If you were to drop that down, you can choose the different ones that you have. Eyes auto, when you drop that down, you can do open, closed, auto, or off. It's going to default to auto. Show outline. When you check this, okay, make sure that I'm here. Now, show outline. Yeah, let me get rid of that. When you go to show outline, you're going to have your outlines here. And the next thing that you can do is you're going to have to pick your color. So we'll keep going down this list here in just a minute. But your colors are according to an order here. And the way you do this, you will actually choose things from left to right. And if you don't know how to do it, you can double click the block and pick the color that you want. So I'm just going to pick an arbitrary color. There's no specific reason for that. But so the first color you come across is going to be your mouth, then your eyes, and then your outline 1, outline 2. But then your next one will be your eyes open 2. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that. Actually, it's not showing up very well. So let me just choose green and change that so you can see some differences in the color. If you needed a different color order here, you can just re-choose this and get it where you want it to be. So let me show you a little picture. This come out of the X-Lights manual, and you can look it up by going to help manual and choosing doing a search for faces and go to the face effect and reading up on it there. A lot of good information. So this is your order in which you're going to pick things when you're doing it this way. Your first color is your mouth. And if you'll notice one right here, it shows this, it'd be green. Your second color is your eyes open. So this is a face effect. So of course it's going to do mouth and eyes in your first bit. Then your third color is an outline. Then your fourth color is an outline 2. And that's what we're using here for this screw base, because that's what we had defined. So let me go back to X-Lights and let's show you that. So you have your mouth, which is your first color, then your eyes, which is your second color, then your outline 1, third color, and then the screw base is blue because it's your fourth color. Let's change it to yellow just because we want it to be yellow. And then your fourth color, or your fifth color, I'm sorry, is eyes 2, which is the yellow. Let me change it back to timing track and you'll see it blinks. I don't have a timing track here, so that's why you're getting, but you'll watch this go away because we did not define a closed pixel for eyes too. We just want it to disappear. So let's go back to phoneme. I think if you went to rest, it will blink. So there's a few little details that let's just call them quirks, okay? So we have a definition here. But what I personally like to do is this. Let's go back to the layout, take a look at the face. Normally, when you have a face, you're also going to have some submodels and such as that. So let's take a look. I have a bulb and I have a base. Well, what you want to look at here, this bulb and this base does not include the face. And that's normally what you would want to put into a group, right? You don't want the whole face in there because what's going to happen is your face, eyes, and all that's going to light up every single pixel, and it's going to look a little weird. So you'll just want to put your outlines in it. So that's normally where you'll find those is in the submodel. There is ways around that with a dark face, but we'll take a look at that later. Let's go back to the faces. And what we're going to do is I'm going to add another, and I'm going to, we'll just call it test 2 because I'll delete it as well. One thing that you can do is you can actually right click inside of these and import submodel. And I'm going to choose the bulb and hit OK. I'll go to face outline 2, right click, import submodel, go to base and hit OK. That took a little bit of it out of it. So when you have a prop that has a lot of different submodels, then being able to go in and do this might make sense to use that instead of having to choose those individually. So that might make life a little bit quicker. So if we're working on a model, do the submodels first, and then you can kind of utilize that later on. So that's one way to get in and build some different stuff. But let's talk about the other options here. So bulb EA. So what that is you'll notice that I have an eyes open that has it looking angry. So eyes angry EA. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to give it another name that makes sense to me. I'm just going to call it colored. And I'm going to hit OK. And now I have another definition here called EA colored. I could do this for every one of them, but I'm going to show you what I mean. And it's a little more easy when it comes to some of your other props because they don't have the different eye shapes. But with this one, we're just going to utilize this one shape to give you what I want to do here. There is a forced custom colors right here. And what that does is it opens up a color box. And for each one of these that you look at, this empty space here is actually going to default white. So I'm going to just double click it. And when I do that, I can choose a color. Let's choose red there. And let's choose yellow here for the base. And for all of the faces, I'm just going to leave it white for now. And the eyes, I'm going to leave it white as well. So just for this purpose, but you can go through and color these in however you would like. I'm going to hit OK, save, go back to the sequencer. I'm going to look at this face, drop this down, and here it is. It's in alphabetical order. It's not going to stay in the same order in which you have it in your list in the layout. So let's choose that. And no matter what I do with these, no matter what I do, it's not going to change anything in this color because I'm forcing those colors. So this is what I will recommend to you to do is with the faces on something like a bulb, you can create this as many times as you want. A blue bulb, a green bulb, a purple bulb, a pink bulb, you know, red bulb, everything. And then all you have to do, no matter how many you have, you just drop it down and say bulb blue, bulb, you know, or maybe just red. It doesn't have to be whatever makes sense to you. You name it that, and you can pick and choose without having to worry about going in and defining your colors from left to right or whatever it might be. I personally like this because it's so fast. Again, this is like droopy eyes. I would have to go through and pick a color. So when I pick this first color, all of the first colors, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth colors are actually going to be this color. Then the second color, all of the remaining colors will be red. Then the third color, all of the remaining colors will be green, and then yellow, and so forth. So as you're picking these colors, it's just going to fill in the rest of them. But when you have your forced colors, when you have them forced, let's go to EA colored, then you don't have to do that. You just choose the face definition that you like, and that part is done. It makes life so much easier. So let's talk about the rest of this area here. You notice I'm not using, this is an animation. There is no lyric track or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I can't tell it to suppress when not singing, because I guess it's smart enough to know I don't have a lyric track. But if I were to click this with a lyric track, what would happen is this bulb would go away after it stops singing immediately, and it would just go out. I can tell it to fade in and fade out, and so it wouldn't be so harsh on the ends. It depends on your song whether or not you want it to do that or not. But you can also tell it lead in and lead out frames. And if you have a 20 frames per second or a 40 frames per second, you can calculate how many seconds or whatever it may take you to want it to go out. It does not change how fast or slow that it fades in. It just makes it delay it for however many frames that you want it to go. One of the other things that you can look at here that I kind of skipped over is use state as outline. For the bulb, this is not necessary. Okay, it's just not necessary. You don't need the state as an outline when you only have a few colors. Matter of fact, before we get into that, let's go back to the layout and let's show you a little cheat code here. So let's go to the faces. Let's go back in here and take a look. You notice that we have eyes open 2, eyes closed 2, closed 3, and so forth. What we're capable of doing here is we're capable of using these eyes open 2 and 3 as outlines. So not only are we able to use 1, 2 outlines, we can also use 2 more by utilizing these. The secret to using that is to use the same on the closed as you do the open, so that you don't have the automatic blinking. Let's show that on a different prop. So let's go to faces. Look, I have eyes open 2 right here. I'm going to click on that, bring this up. It's very difficult to see here. So let me change the colors to red. Maybe that'll make life a little easier. There we go. So you see the eyebrows here are red. I'm using that. Actually, blue is what it's supposed to be, since it was so hard to see though. What I'm doing is I'm using it here, but I also have to have it here. So in this one, I want to change that to red as well, just so you can see it. If I did not have both the open 2 and closed 2 in the same number of pixels, what would happen is every time the prop is supposed to blink, that part would disappear, and it would be for just a split second. And you kind of wonder what's going on. Well, this is what's happening, is because you didn't double this up for both sections. So if you want to use these for an extra outline, make sure that you use the same pixels for the closed and the open at the same time. Let me change this back to blue real quick so that I don't mess my model up. And now what you'll also notice is that I have an empty space here for 3. It's just I didn't need it because I had enough room to do that. But there is another option. So let's take a look at the using states as outline. I'm going to close this out, and let's take a look. I think I have the states on this one, so let's just look and see what I do. Oh yeah, I got it. That's good news for me. Trying to zoom out here. Sometimes it's a little persnickety. There it goes. So what you'll notice is that I have hair, nose, stripes, face, and brow. What I don't have is the eyes or the mouth, because that's what's defined in the actual face definition. If I were to include anything that way, it would stay lit up while the faces was still working. You might not get blinking, you might not get some of the other stuff, but your face would stay in a certain position while the face effect was talking around it. So we don't include that when you're wanting to use this as a state, as an outline. You'll notice that what I call mine is static. You can call it whatever you like. I just like the word static here because that's what it is. It's a static state. It's a static coloring. And I'm using these colors here as how, and I'm using the forced colors. That's one of the keys too, is your forced colors, because if you don't have forced colors, your state's only going to be one color, and that's whatever you choose in your outline, and it will be applied to everything. So when you're using this, don't use the eyes or the mouth when you're creating something like that. Let's go back and take a look and see what that looks like in the sequencer. So let's find my evil clown, wherever it might have landed. Oh my goodness, I got submodels open. Let's see. I'm overlooking evil clown, so let me just see where he's at. There he is. Put him at the bottom. That make him easy to see. All right, so evil clown. Let's move this face effect down here to evil clown. And what you're going to see is I have these colors forced, so clown is already okay. But if I didn't have that colored, then I would be using these right here for whatever colors that I wanted to choose. And I can do some strange things that way if I wanted to. But if I choose to use the states as an outline and use the static, that static is already defined. But what does not get changed is the eyes and the mouth. Notice that the eyes are still red and the mouth is still blue, because those are your first two colors. Blue is the first color, eyes is that. So I would want to change this around. Let me just drop that one off. That changes, since this is the first one chose. The first one will be red, and I want my eyes to be yellow. So the second one becomes yellow, and then I want to change that around because what you'll also notice is that in this particular prop, the eyebrows are part of the actual face definition in the eyes. So it's going to overwrite my static state. So the way you would fix that, you go back over here and we'll go into the faces, and we can go into evil clown, no colors, and we could just delete this part right here if we wanted to and let the static states do it for me. Personal preference, that's up to you on how you want to handle that. I don't think that these number of colors really require the states, but if you have something that has that many colors to it, then by all means you use the states. Let's say you have a toy soldier or something of that nature that you may have a whole bunch of colors to, then you could use your state as an outline. The other thing that you can do with the states as outline by creating states is you can create shadows by doing that. So there's a lot of benefits to doing that. So let's talk about how we use these states or these faces. So what I want to do here is I'm going to insert multiple layers below to be fine. Drop down. Let me put this one. This one's on top. I'm just going to leave it there for now. I'm going to change this to eyes only, and you'll notice that the states are still there. The static is still there, so I'm just going to get rid of that. And now we have the eyes only. The whole purpose of this was to make it look a little more creepy, as you've seen in the video. I'm going to Control C, and then I'm going to Control V, and I'm going to bring this one in, but I'm going to change this effect back to clown, and I'm going to have it fade in over a second. And so now if I play this little section here, what you'll see is the eyes will come in and blink, and then the clown will come in. So that's just a way to double layer and do some different things that way. You can also do some really cool things by using your buffer. So what I'm going to show you here is, let me find my, here it is, the EFL, not evil, EFL pumpkin. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to insert a layer below. I'm only going to need 2 layers here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the face effect here, drag it over, and I'm going to use some colors that I like for this. Matter of fact, let's see. Drop this down. Yeah, let's go ahead and pick some colors here. So the first one that I pick is going to be the mouth. I want it to be, let's just go with yellow so it's easier to see. The eyes, I also want to be yellow. Let's pick that. And then for the pumpkin, I want orange. And then for the stem, I want green. So I have my face colored in. I don't have any forced color, so I'm coloring it in this way. And he's going to sit there and be cool. He is sitting there blinking away, and this is what he would look like if you didn't put anything on it. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another face effect here over top of it. And I'm going to change this color to pink because I want a pink singer, or whatever the case. I want it to be a female. So I want to change that to pink. Yeah, that looks pink enough. All right, so what you're going to see if I hit play is you're going to see it transition from the boy to the girl. And you can have it change lyric tracks, and you don't want to do that while it's talking. But what you'll notice here is that one of them's blinking and one of them's not. So that's going to be kind of messy there. So what we would do is we would just bring this over and we would hit play. And then after it comes in, you would have just one take over, and that would be it. Now, the next thing I want to show you is this. I want both of these singing at the same time and doing the different parts. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this at this same point. Okay, let's put them close together. Right click this buffer in the layer settings. I'm going to do halves, and I'm going to do the left half. And then this one here, I'm going to do halves, and I'm going to do right halves. And what we'll have is 2 different distinct colors. This works great if you're singing the same lyrics. You can have them sing 2 different lyrics, and the mouth would move separately, but it might look a little funny. But if you have a chorus or something where two different singers are singing at the same time, this is a way that you can get one prop to sing two parts at the same time. One of these is not blinking, and probably this one, so I'll move it to timing, track, and back, and then hopefully they'll blink at the same time. Nope. Let's go to this one. Yeah, so they're blinking at different times. If I right click and alignment and align both times, let's make sure. Now, so they're acting a little bit different. But you kind of see what I'm saying here is that by using the buffer, we can actually make a 2 different singing voices happen at the same time. It's a very unique way of doing it, but some people may notice it, some people may not. You'll definitely notice it because you've done it, and we are our own worst critics. So at this moment, I don't want to get too much further without opening it up to questions if there's any questions so far. I know I've went over a lot of stuff pretty quickly, so wouldn't mind backtracking if we need to. Mark, is everybody capable of unmuting now, or
They aren't currently, but I can let them unmute if you'd like.
go ahead and let them unmute just in case somebody has a question, because I'm going to talk about using the face effects for other purposes outside of the faces here in just a minute. So if there's any question on building faces, y'all go ahead and ask.
They're able to unmute now.
All right. Don't sound like there's any questions, so it may be clear as mud. All right. If no questions, I'm going to move on to something different. So let's take a look at this prop right here. This is the P-Boy. Right as he is currently, he does not have any face definition. So I want to show that to you, and we're going to build this up. What we're going to use this for is static coloring. Okay, we could use states to do that. We could use a lot of things, but I like the automation of the blinking eyes. Okay, so let's do this here, and we're going to do this actually pretty quickly. So I'm going to add. I'm going to do P-Boy. I am going to force the colors. So the first one, let's is if you have, this is another one. If you have the cursor here and right click, you get a different menu option. If you just have it highlighted, import submodel. So what we have is we're going to utilize 4 different outlines here, and I want to pick the right one. So let's go to skin for that one, and we'll just look at that. I'm going to color that one in. Let's go with orange for now, so we don't have to do a whole lot of custom colors. I'm also going to right click here, and I'm going to import. And when you're doing this, you can do as many things as you want. Okay, just so you know, you can do as many as you want. I'm going to do, let's go with hair, and I'm going to do shoes. Might be a weird combination, but you'll see what I'm doing here in just a second. So the hair and the shoes, and let's change those to yellow. And so we'll have yellow shoes and yellow hair. The eyes, I'm going to leave for an actual eye here, but eyes open 2. Oops, I double clicked and opened that up. Let me right click, import submodel. I'm going to use this for the shirt. And let's see, is anything else I want to use there? No, we'll just leave that alone. So the shirt, we're going to use that. And I want to change that to red. What else? We need the blue jeans. So let's go to the blue jeans. And I'm going to skip these for the time being on purpose, so that you can see what's going on. So eyes closed. Actually, let's do this one. Eyes open 3, import submodel, and I'm going to go to jeans, and I'm going to pick, of course, blue for blue jeans. All right, so what do we have left here? We have that. We have his yeah. Okay, so we need to pick his actual facial features. Look, the problem that we have here with this is not a singing face, right? So we're just going to do something here. We're going to pick the colors for the mouth, and I'm going to right click, import submodel, and we're going to go to mouth and hit OK. I'm going to click once. Don't double click, it opens that up. Click twice, and once you get to this blue, you can Control C to actually copy. So once you click in here, click twice to get the cursor, click twice, and I'm going to just do this all the way down, so that no matter what is happening, he will have a face, a mouth. Okay, eyes open what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and pick these sections right here. Actually, not that one. So I want to shift and click across there. I'm going to pick this, and these. So that is actually, and these. And double click, get rid of that one. So those are my eyes open at the moment. I really kind of needed some more stuff here. So we may have to back up and do a state as outlined. But for now, let's go ahead and get these in. And eyes closed. We're just going to pick these bottom ones here. Get rid of that. And same thing, we just pick the bottom ones there so he'll kind of blink. Look, this is not obviously not going to be a finished product because I think the states, since we have so many different colors, would be a better choice. But we're just going to leave some stuff blank and let you see the how it fails, and then we'll come back in and fix it. So I'm going to hit OK, save it, go to the sequencer, and here's P-Boy. Let me get rid of that there and put the face. Okay, so what you see right now, let me get off of that little bit of animation there. Okay, so what you see right now is all the face parts, including the eyes, right? So eyes 2 and 3 that were defined here. If we want this outlines, then we choose the outlines, and now we have the colors. So what we're going to do now is, well, let's get it to timing track and let it blink. All right, so you'll notice that when it blinks, all of the eyes are blinking, and we know we got a problem because, well, everything is blinking. So let's go back and go ahead and fix that real quick. Go to the faces, and the way we fix it is we'll go to here, click twice, Control C, Control V. We'll go here, Control C, Control V, and we'll also have to choose the same colors. So we'll want blue, and we'll want red. Now that that's fixed, save it, go back to the sequencer, and take a look. And what you'll see, oh, what did I do wrong? I put the colors in the wrong order. Silly me. Let's go back and we'll go in and we'll fix that real quick. So now this should have fixed it. But now you kind of see the workflow. Sometimes when you make mistakes, you take a look at it and you just see what's going on. Go back and fix it. But now you can kind of see what's going on if you do try to go that route. And now the only thing that should blink will be the eyes. Okay, so that works okay. Now I want more colors here. I want more colors for the eyes. I want some more stuff. So the way that we need to do that is by creating a static face definition in the states. And I'm going to go over a few other things just in case we run out of time. What we have 15 minutes left, plus a break if we want to take in some of that. But let's take a look at a few things that have face definitions that you normally wouldn't think about having face definitions. The running deer. We can take a look at that. And you'll notice there is a face definition here. This one has just the eyes. That's a little bit different. Oh, so I got something going on there that's a little different. So we have all the submodels here are already ready to go, and we could bring those in and do build a face if we wanted to. But let's take a look at the states. Rudolph. Here's a bunch of colors, right? We have so many colors that we want to actually use the states, and you don't see the eyes defined here. They're actually blank. The eyes are not defined in this section here because they are defined in the actual face itself. And actually, I take that back. They are defined right here because I'm just using the black to actually black them out. That's a little bit different. So you do have some stuff here. The white tail, mouth. So you just go through and name it what you want. One thing about states, and we'll talk about that in my states class if you want to be there. You can't put capital letters here, and it's a little quirk. You'll get an error if you do, and so just avoid that if you can. So the way that we'll go about using the running deer, let me close him up. Is running deer in here? Running deer. No, that's the a different version. Yeah, we'll go ahead and put it in here. Lands at the bottom. Oh, there's a running deer. All right, so the running deer, we'll put the face effect on it. And what you're going to see is that we'll need to put the state as outline. We'll put Rudolph here. And now Rudolph is being colored in. And he's also blinking. So I like the automation of the face effect for the blinking, even though this is not a singing prop. You could play around and maybe make some faces here if you wanted to, singing face stuff. But this is the way I'm using that. I'm also using the same thing on my bats. So you can utilize the face for any kind of automation that you want. The reason why I'm using the bats is because it has eyes as well, and I want to be able to let it blink. Scorpion has that, but actually I don't think that's actually defined right now. So let's take a look at the bat and see what it's set up as. Eyes right there. You see the eyes are actually lighting up. This is the mouth and eyes right here. So the eyes can blink when you're using the face effect here. So let's go take a look at how this is set up. And let's see, is the bat in here? Nope, it is not. Bring it in. Put the face effect on there. And look how easy this is. I'm not, they're forced colors. I don't have to do anything. I just drop the face on there and it's done. That's what makes the face effect so powerful, is that I can do things without having a lot of hassle. The hassle is done earlier on when you're setting up your faces. But once you do that, you're done. So you have this set up, drop it on there, you're done, and you have the eyes blinking. And it gives it the character that you want. So that's the automation that you bring to it by using the faces. Any questions so far? We're running a little bit low on time. Now feel free to unmute at any time and ask a question if you want to.
I allowed everyone to unmute again.
Okay. So it's open to questions if anybody has any questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
By the way, big fan of your singing Christmas trees. They are the coolest looking ones around. I really like them.
Thanks.
When you are setting up the state models like you were doing with Calvin or P-Boy, right? Let's say, in one song, you want his hair to be yellow, and then like for another song, you might want it to be red. Does it store that information with your layout, or does it store it in the sequence? Is that something you can change from song to song, or once you pick the color of the eyes for something, you're stuck with it?
Yeah, you can change it from song to song. What's kind of cool about this, let's just go to P-Boy, and I'll show you two methods to fixing that. Where is P-Boy peeing at? Here he is. All right. So if I double click and open up here, you have the submodels, right? So if I wanted this color to change, right? So let's say that I wanted it to be red. I want it to be red. Then you see that I have red hair. This is a quick and easy way to do it. I can change the colors I can right click right here and I can add some other colors to it. Let's see, double click right here. And I want to change it to blue. So as this effect is running along, you'll see that the colors are going to change blue. And so this is just one way of handling that is by using the submodels, because the submodels is a higher render order. Anything you put on here will get applied above the faces, if that makes sense. Now, the other way to handle this, and this is what I want to recommend you doing, especially for like bulbs and other props that generally do have a lot of different colors, is by going in and going to the faces. And then what you'll want to do, you notice there's only one face definition. You can have as many as you want. And the easiest way to handle that is on these three dots. So let me go through this. There's a copy. That's what we're going to use in just a minute. If you want to rename this one to yellow hair, you could. You can import from a model. Let's say that you had 20 bulbs and you took and you put red, green, blue, purple, pink, every color in the swaths there, and you have it on one of your bulbs. Well, you can go to your next bulb and you can import from model, and by bringing it in that way. I think there's actually some ways to do that in bulk, but I may be lying to you there. But I know that you can do it by if I click import from model, I can pick whichever one, and it will import those faces directly to it. Obviously, I don't have it. But what we want to use here is we want to use copy. And you're going to rename it. I'm going to rename it Redhead because everybody likes a redhead, right? All right, so redhead. And then I'm going to go to the face outline here, and I'm going to double click and I'm going to change it to red. And boom, we've got red. Once I hit OK, save it, go to the sequencer. And I want to pick here. Let me get rid of this. So you'll notice that we're still yellow, but if I choose redhead, we get redhead. We can go in and change this as much as you want. You can also define the colors through the static and have as many static states as you want to be able to change colors, and you would just choose that here if you were to define that there. Does that answer your question okay? Any other questions before we run out of time? Well, hopefully that answered a few use case scenarios for faces and how to build your faces. What you can do with faces other than actually just using them as faces. There's multiple reasons to use it. States can do a lot of the same thing. We'll talk about that too in my next class, which comes up after the break. But faces has automations that states don't, and states has automation that faces don't. So we'll explore a little bit of that later on too. So any other questions before we end the session?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I have a couple of the Hatitude props, and there's times where I want to do kind of some stuff in the background, but it bleeds through in the face. So I've kind of built a black face or darked out face or whatever to put behind. Is there an easier way to do that?
No, so so building it in the first place is the hard part. So let's let me do this. I'm not real fond of this prop for multiple reasons, but I will show you how to handle this yourself. So where are they at? Let's go to, I'll just type in here. What is it? How do you spell Hatitude? Is that right?
2 T's.
2 T's. Okay. Hatitude. There we go. So we're going to go to Hatitude, bring it in. And this is the way that I would handle this. Okay. One thing that I would do, you can actually do this with the faces. It has been done before in other places. Notice that you have blob or ghost. Let's take a look. It's pretty easy little definition. On face outline 2, you can go in and choose all of the non-used pixels. Okay, this is what takes you a little bit of time. Choose all of the non-used pixels and turn them black by forcing the colors. And then you would probably leave this one white since it's a ghost. But then choose black for these. And I'm just going to quickly do this so that you can kind of give an idea. But you have the mouth, right? You have this and that and that and that. What we're going to do is I'm going to click in here and I'm just going to choose all the inside, and you really have to play around with this a good bit. So I'm just going to choose that. Now I'm going to go, you would have to do this for every face definition that you come across, and it would have to be separate. I'm going to leave everything white. I'm going to hit OK, go to save. And let's see what happens, because there may be some modifications that we need to make. Right click, edit display elements, and oh yeah, look at all those lovely. The Attitude Quartet should be at the bottom. Bring your face definition down by hitting the down arrow, and we have Blobber Ghost. So what happens if we have a face definition or an effect come across it below that face? Now, remember that let it jump. Remember that your face definition has to be on top, because your render order matters here. So let's just put an arbitrary something on here, and let's take a look. What you are seeing, let's do this and make sure the outline is there. Okay, so what you're seeing is that all this stuff is still coming through except for the little bit that I chose. And it's still bleeding through, but I'd have to choose some more stuff and get rid of it. And we would want to choose all of this all the way out to the actual prop itself. Now, the problem that you're going to run into by doing that, let's go back into this, and I want to show you the render order when it comes to faces. Here's the fun part. This right here can get overwritten by this in that. So you would want your face outline to be the black. You want your face outline 2 to be the actual outline. So let me do this real quick. And this is, I'm not going to be able to complete this, but I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some more stuff here so we can see that. If these were reversed, this one would show over that. What you're going to find here is that the face outline that's defined here, it's not going to show properly because the black is actually showing. So I would reverse these. I'm going to hit OK, hit save, go to the sequencer. Let's take a look at that real quick and see. I made a liar out of myself here. So it looks like the actual colors are still going to be there for the first one. So the render order is okay the way it is. But just keep in mind, you do have to keep that in order. The other way to attack this is so that this is all happening behind it is actually by doing the states as outline. And then instead of choosing that, you would actually come here and choose a state as outline, and you would force your colors that way. This way you have effects happening that way. Now, the problem you may run into, let's see, is there a spinner in this conglomeration?
There's all kinds of things in there.
So where is
But
it
yeah,
at?
there's a spinner.
I'm looking for the actual spinner. Oh, this is okay. So they got them broke out, which is,
I think there's one with it. They all have it in one as well.
yeah, come in as groups. So I was hoping that maybe they had something here that I could show you. But if you were to put anything on, let's just put the on effect here on this one, and I'm going to change it to red. Maybe it'd be easier to see. You notice that it's actually showing through, even though the faces, that's because the submodels have a higher render order. So you're still going to have to deal with that. If you put this effect in your groups, which are higher up, then your face effects will actually block it out. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Because you still have a render order that you have to deal with. The hard part for you to create this is you're going to have to go into your layout and you're going to have to fix this face for each one. So if you go to the faces and let's take a look at Quartet Bulb, your face outline's already being used, and so are your eyes closed and all that. So what may be a better option is by using states as outlines so that you can get more colors there. And it is definitely going to be a little bit more time consuming by doing that. But I think by the time you get done, you'll be happy. What you'll have to do is, again, pick all of the colors behind or inside of that particular face. And that's where you got to go back and forth. It is a pain in the butt. But choose black for those and then pick the colors for your outlines and go from there. And it's time consuming, but it's up to you on how you want to do it. That way you can get some effects running behind the faces and still work like a champ. That help?
Yeah.
David Chu in chat said he has a way to make this happen with the version that he built. He uses a black outline in the sequence.
Okay. And that works great when you only have one, you're not utilizing one of the outlines, right? That works great. If you're utilizing all of the outlines, including the eyes 2 and 3, then you don't have nothing to work with. So
Yeah, the way I did it is I made an actual model for the blackout and then use an off effect.
okay, so basically what you're doing, you have a submodel. Now, do you have a submodel for each one of the face definitions?
You have to.
Yeah. Okay.
And it is a pain in the butt to make. But
Yeah,
it works great.
Once you get it, you got it. But you could also do that in your states. Once you
Yeah.
create it, what's great about what he's done, and he's already done 90% of the work, because what you can do now is go to the faces or the states, right? Right click, import submodel, and import the proper submodel that he has. Since he already done the hard work of picking the correct black pixels, then you can import it into the face definition and go ahead and knock that out. That may help you as well. So that's something to consider. And my thing is, let's use whatever we're going to do. Let's do it across the board so that, one may require that and one may require states. One may require you or allow you to use just the faces to do it. But if you're going to do it for one requires the states, then go ahead and define it for all of the states instead of trying to define it as each face, because it may get a little confusing if you have to pick and choose which ones you're doing. But just name the static face according to which definition it needs to go with. And again, leave the eyes out and leave the mouth out of it. So, all right, I think we're actually out of time. We're in break.